Hello everybody, I hope you're having a great day. I'd like to show you my latest segmented blank. Now I'm really happy with this. It's first one I've made, and it is 3/4 of an inch tall, and it is 1/8 of an inch wider than 3/4. So I need to shave a 1/16 off each side as I make it, but that's why we're making it. We're making it to learn how. This is the very first one, the only one I've ever attempted. Today, what we're going to do for fun is we're going to get the excess material cut off of this end, and we're going to put this on the lathe, and we're going to true it up. I'm not going to turn it into a pin, but I'm going to true it so we can see what it looks like. After we true it, I will update my notes with what I've learned. First thing is shave a 1/16 from each side. The second thing will be anything I learned from truing, anything I learned about alignment, and we'll go back and make another one. We're going to make a number of these, there'll probably be 8 or 10 of them made before I'm ready to start making instructions. But once I dial this in and get the blank figured out exactly the way I want it, the plan is to take some photos, write the process up, and I plan to use this as my demo in 2025. So any pin shows that I go to in 2025, the first one will be in March, up at the Mid-Atlantic Turners Expo. You can look that up online. I'll put a link to their website in the video description, but I'll be demoing how to make this blank and handing out the instructions. So if you come to the show, I'll be happy to give those to you. For now, let's go ahead and we'll get this cut to size. We'll get it centered, and let's true it up and see what she looks like. This blank is exactly 7 inches in length. And I made it 7 inches because I had the Apollo and the Artemis pin kit in mind when I made it. Now, once I perfect it, I'll make some shorter ones that can be used on Sierras or Slimlines or pretty much any other pin kit you can think about. But I thought it best to go ahead and make it larger than I need it because I actually have one of those pin kits. I have an Apollo that I plan to, when I perfect this, turn one of these and apply it to. Now, if you're interested in knowing what an Apollo and an Artemis are, you can get them from Bullseye Turning. I do have a code with Bullseye. It is RJB15, and it is good for 15% off anything at their website. So go over there, check out the Apollo, check out the Artemis, and see if they're for you. If not, they have some other great items. They have hobby knives. They have all kinds of blanks, some really great offerings. And once again, you get 15% off everything in your cart if you use the code RJB15. Let's start by finding the center of our blank, and this may be a little tough since it's not perfectly square, but I'm just going to use this little gauge here. Okay. Kind of make it work. That's pretty darn good. We cross right at the centerpiece. You can see the square where all 4 of those lines meet. Let's get the other side. Once again, that looks pretty good. We're going to find that center line. Sorry about my hand being in the way, but all I did was use my center punch to make sure I punched in the center where all of my lines converged. And now we'll get this between centers on our lathe and true it up, see what she looks like. I've got a live center in the tailstock, and I've got a drive center here. And notice how small the spur on that drive center is. And it's great because when you're trying to true a blank, a normal spur is so big, it's hard to true the end without hitting the edges of the spur. And what this does is it's much smaller, so I can get that blank trued down with no problem at all. So, now this is a fairly long blank, and as you can tell, my normal tool rest is only about 5.5 inches, so it's just not going to cut it. I don't want to have to move the rest back and forth. It makes it more difficult to true the blank, so I've switched off to a longer tool rest. For turning today, I'm going to use this tool. Now this is called the Magic Skew, and you can see it's a pentagon. And the nice thing about it is these are set at the perfect angle to where if you lay them on your tool rest and hold it steady, it's going to give you the perfect cutting angle for your tool. Because with a carbide tool, You don't want to go in straight. It takes a lot of meat off that way, but it gives you a rougher cut. When you go in at a 45-degree angle like this, you're just putting just the slightest edge of the carbide cutter against the material, and you're going to get the cleanest, smoothest cut. It's more skew-like. And of course, that's where it got its name, the magic skew, because it emulates a skew with a carbide cutter. I think I'm going to switch off and use my skew on this. And the reason why is, notice how rough that wood is. This is a very soft piece of wood. For testing, I used poplar. When I make these, I hope to use hard maple and other harder woods. And it's just, I guess there's a little bit of flex in it because it's such a long blank. And because of that, I'm getting a rough cut. So switching to the skew, I'm hoping to get a smoother cut because I would like to get this trued. We're just a little, you can see a little above being true. But once we get it trued, we can sand it up and see what it looks like. After a couple of passes with the skew, you can see how much smoother my cut is. Really happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and continue turning because I haven't quite got it true yet. We'll be there shortly, and then we'll see what we can do with this blank. Got the blank turned. There's a couple little dingles in there, but I think a little bit more turning and sanding, they'll disappear. The far end of the blank here is 13.5 millimeters. This end of the blank is 15.6, and the center of the blank is 15.4. It's still big enough to make an Apollo out of. So what I'm going to do is hit it with the sanding disc just a little bit, kind of clean it up. I may throw just 1 or 2 coats of CA to see what it looks like on there, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with it. I do have, like I said, a little dingle right here. It's below the surface, but I think that is shallow enough where it will disappear. And I have a little spot here where it looks like I did not have a good fit when I glued it up, but I think that can be easily filled. So let me get the sander, do just a little cleanup on it, and see what she looks like. I ran each grit of sandpaper 1 pass. That's all I gave it, just to clean it up. You can see how nice it looks. That'll still need to be filled in, not a big issue. The blank looks great. On this side of the blank, you'll notice you can see some of the glue. I still didn't get quite surface on this side. It's still a little bit above surface. You can feel a little bit of a fingernail there. I want to point out that this blank is still big enough to make an Apollo out of. I don't think it would be that difficult. I would probably make this the body end because it's a little narrower, and normally I taper down to the end of the body. This is a little wider, so I'd make this the cap end. But I think this could still make a really nice pin. I'm going to stop sanding here, and I'm just going to throw a couple of coats of CA on just to kind of give an idea of what it's going to look like when it's finished. That's going to look really nice. I think I'll put a couple coats of medium on there just to make it pop. And a little bit of activator just to make it cure a little faster. That looks pretty darn good on that side. On that side there, it's a little bit blobby because I think it caught behind the little raised area of the centerpiece. I think that's about it. I'm going to head back over to the table saw, and we're going to start cutting pieces and making another one. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was just a fun little video, and it's more to show you that, hey, I'm still alive. I'm still here. I'm still going to be doing videos, not as frequently as I have in the past, but I'm still going to be putting video content out for all of you. And I just wanted to show you what I've been working on, which is this blank. And as I mentioned before, this will be my demo blank for the year 2025. If you come to one of the shows where I happen to be demoing, you're going to see me make this blank. I'm going to teach you how to make the blank and give you instructions on how to make it. Now, for those of you who can't make a show, Don't worry, I do sell instructions over on my Etsy store. I'll put a link to that in the description below. That will be available, but it will probably be available later in the season after I do a couple of demos, because the idea is I want to encourage people to come to the show and see the demos. So that way we can meet, we can hang out, we can talk. So I probably will wait a little bit before I make it readily available. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon, and have a great evening.